the man who every night, as host of CNBC's Real Personal, explains to millions of women why men are jerks. Bob Berkowitz. And, of course, columnist and author of Metropolitan Life, Fran Lebowitz. And five-time Emmy Award-winning writer and producer of Saturday Night Live, and I may also say that...
not producer.
Well, you have been the producer.
In a bad year. I produced a very bad year.
I'm trying to say nice things about you, and I was also going to say that your on-camera work on that show, I think, has provided some of the most memorable moments from what, for many years, was a crappy show. But you did great stuff. Al Franken. And senior writer for Washingtonian Magazine and former Bush speechwriter, Andy Ferguson. Okay. Well, let's get right to it. Now, on this show, we usually do not do an issue out of the financial page because that's the page that makes my eyes glaze over.
So you're reading the New York Post.
But it did catch my eye because it was in the New York Post, and you know this is not exactly Egghead Quarterly. So if it's in, and I mean I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I like to think I'm a little above this level of journalism.
Now that's the financial page.
Marla had the baby. I didn't see that.
Now that's a financial page.
But here it is: $32 billion media merger will change the way we live. This merger between Bell Atlantic and TCI. My question just is that good that we're going to change the way we live? What do you think? I mean, have you been following it?
I don't think you have to worry about it. These guys are spending $32 or $33 billion to make a information superhighway for a country that can't learn how to program VCRs. So people are going to sit there and fidget with cartridges and discs.
I am one of those. Yeah, I see. I'm the kind of person that is scared of technology. I mean, the idea that cable is coming through the phone lines. I know I'm going to be the guy on the phone. Do I have to turn the TV off if I want to make a call? I'm watching Larry King now. I want to call in. Do I just shout at the screen? I would imagine you are that way too. You don't seem like a technology type.
No, but I would say I'm afraid of it. I would say I'm bored by it. I would say what we have now are all these delivery systems to deliver what?
Right.
The same kind of dull stuff that we had delivered in a different way before. I have always thought that if the first kind of TV that was invented was cable TV, which seems quite primitive. They have to dig into the street and make, wires, and you have to pay for it. It seems that then they would invent broadcast TV and everyone would say, how magical, it goes through the air, it's for free. Right. It seems like it went backwards.
Yeah, right.
Listen, I mean, broadcast TV seems more modern to me.
Yes. But is nobody scared by the fact that they keep saying they're merging these two companies to give us more choices? They're merging two big monopolies to give us more choices.
They're going to have all these these interactive things that they're going to be offering in about a year now. Or a year from now, they said in New Jersey they'll start offering interactive services.
New Jersey, the leader.
Right, the leading edge of the nation is New Jersey. One of the things you'll be able to do. Sorry, Al. I'm sorry. Beg your pardon.
No. Are you from New Jersey?
No.
Well, I'm from New Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey too.
You're from New Jersey. Are you from New Jersey?
I live in New Jersey.
I rest my case.
I'm from the Bronx. Okay. They say that you can do things like diagnose which play the quarterback should do next, which camera angle.
And you get to, and the interactive part is the person watching gets to pick the camera.
The camera angle, and then you get to tell them what
So I'm watching the game, and I got to direct it now too.
The reason we watch TV is because we're lazy.
Right,
we don't want to have to work.
We're ignoring something.
What?
Pornography. Am I right?
You are right, Al.
Pornography on tap 24 hours a day in your home.
Al, let me point something out. With the two-way phone thing now, where you can see the person, those sex phone things are not going to be any good if you can see the girls talking. Because I mean,
or vice versa.
All right. Because they get off on their customers now.
But I imagine it'd be even harder if they had to see them.
Yeah.
All right, I think we put that to bed. Coming up next, Ted Danson. The bad news, he may never work in film again. The good news, he just got booked to do a set on Def Comedy Jam.
2895.
Okay, welcome back. Issue number 2. By now we've all heard about the Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg ruckus at the Friars Club and the controversy that ensued. I, for one, can certainly sympathize with those who felt that this was a dark day for race relations coming after so many have slaved to make this a more tolerant nation. A nation no longer spooked by the specter of mass segregation and bigotry, and where the black face of America need no longer be one of fear. Where the niggardly attitudes of the past are hung out to dry and are not colored by race but by character. That's the America we all want. And so the question is whether Ted Danson's comments represent simple, good-natured ribbing or a greater melancholy from which none of us can afford to turn chicken. Now, I was loath to do that, but, my opinion is that it was not so bad, and I'm perfectly open to other opinions, but I think it's that... Go ahead.
The worst thing that happened for me was, I never thought this day would happen. I lost a lot of respect for Montel Williams.
How much did you have to begin with that?
Well, I mean, he has a great show. I saw one the other day. Women who've had battery acid thrown in their face and who've married the man who did it. Now, and I can imagine his shock and dismay at going to a place where, why would you expect the Friars Club to do? The whole point of the Friars Club is to be offensive.
Exactly.
And Ted Danson is being punished for understanding that blackface is offensive. Yeah. So it's called irony,
right.
Everybody, and so Montel Williams is it was a calculated, disingenuous.
I keep wondering if Mel Brooks was wearing a Nazi uniform, roasting Jackie Mason, whether we would be having this conversation. And we've become just a little too sensitive about certain issues. Nevertheless, I think that Ted has lost a few of his brain cells when he took off his toupee. And who is giving this guy, career advice? First he quits Cheers, and then he does blackface at the Friars. I mean, it's very strange.
What I don't get is this guy's been sleeping with Whoopi Goldberg for 2 years, and now they accuse him of bad taste.
Well,
wait a minute.
Did I say something wrong? Do you think
Did you knock New Jersey?
No. She's from New Jersey. Do you think that this is going to put a strain on their relationship? Do you think it's one of those situations where they're fighting about it now?
No, she thought it was
your idea.
She wrote the material.
Right.
So she's not by it.
Right. And
were those black women on the dais offended with, because Montel kept sending them flowers or something like that? I thought they were laughing at this stuff.
Do you think that there's a day that's going to come where Ted is going to go on Oprah and say that it was all because he was covering a Michael Jackson skin condition? Were you offended by that, Fran?
About which?
About the last joke I said.
I wasn't there, so I don't know what the jokes were. I mean, to me, what the important thing is, was it funny?
Right. Well, it was funny.
If it was
From
funny,
what I heard, it was funny.
Yeah, everybody was wrong.
If it was funny, then I think it was okay.
Montel is a great judge of humor, though. You've got to admit.
See, I never even heard of Montel Williams before this, so I guess that he succeeded in what he was doing, because now I know who Montel Williams is.
So you would say that anything...
I could actually live my whole life without knowing him.
But I mean, in general, would you say that anything that gets a laugh is justified?
Well, this was in a private place, yes.
Right.
I mean, see, in a private place, absolutely. This was a party in a private place. This wasn't using the public airwaves. This wasn't on network television, what little was left of it.
Also, don't you think that if these are two big name, glamorous stories, if this had happened to Isabel Sanford and McLean Stevenson, do you think anybody would give a damn?
Is Isabel Sanford a real person?
Yes, she is. She was on
she
the
works in blackface a lot.
Oh. All right. Coming up next, Haiti, one country that won't be port of call for the Carnival Cruise. 1993, in places like Somalia and Haiti, Americans saw terrible suffering and decided they had to feed the world. But the omelets we were serving suddenly became too costly when it became apparent that to make them, we'd have to break a few eggs. What used to be a tough, macho, pay any price, bear any burden colossus known as the United States has become a paper tiger where one unsavory AP wire photo can change national policy overnight. Powerful on the outside, but weak and touchy-feely on the inside. The story of America might now best be titled Countries That Love Too Much and the Starving Masses That Hate Them. My question is, can a country that's gone so soft on the inside ever be counted on to stick out the really dirty jobs overseas? And Bob, I'm going to turn that over to you.
You know, I'm amazed that suddenly we care about democracy in Haiti. I mean, for about 40 years, we had the Duvaliers, Papa Doc, Baby Doc, and
Right.
Doc Martens, and all those people that are there. And we never cared about democracy then. Suddenly we do, because they've got about 40,000 Haitians on the beach where they're making rickety boats and are getting ready to invade Miami Beach in the height of the season. And so therefore, that's why we have troops in Haiti now, because of the invasion of Haitians.
Well, that's quite a speech, Bob. I don't know what that has to do with the question. The question I was asking, though, is, you know, it's like...
The question bored me, Bill, frankly.
Well,
Hey,
sorry, you certainly got me back. But like in, if you take Somalia and Haiti, they're both situations where we're sort of gung ho to go in there, and the second one thing goes bad, we sort of lose our will.
Vietnam.
And I'm saying it's TV psychologists like you, Bob, that have turned this into I often think
that is what happened
your
in Vietnam.
character,
Exactly.
Stuart Smalley.
Yeah.
We're kind of like, you know, America is kind of like saying, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough,
and I can feed people. No, you're right about
countries like me.
You're right about Vietnam. One thing happened in 1962, and we left.
Yeah, well, Vietnam is why we're like that today.
It is why we're a little gun shy.
Right.
We used to sort of go invade little places and kind of prop up the thugs. And what we're finding out is it's harder to go in and try to, create a nation, a democratic nation, that propping up the thugs is a lot easier than fighting the thugs.
Right.
That's what's happening.
But they are thugs. I think this isn't an American problem. This is Bill Clinton's problem. He's the one who's soft on the inside and on the outside and in the head, probably. I mean,
now you wrote for Bush.
Let me explain.
No. Give him time. Yeah. Please. No, go ahead.
4 years. I'm over it. I can handle it now.
Take care of him, Mal. Come on.
No, it's okay. You did a good job. You were trying. It wasn't your fault that he lost.
I've dealt with it.
It wasn't your speeches. It was him. He didn't know what to do. He hadn't a clue. He was clueless. Sorry.
I had a good line, by the way.
By the way, because I always want to hear what Fran Lebowitz has to say about anything, and she's shy and quiet, and if I don't directly ask her, she won't answer. So, Fran, you follow foreign affairs. What do you think of these foreign affairs?
But they're unrelated, first of all.
You think they're unrelated?
Yes, they're unrelated. I mean, first of all, Bush was the one who went into Somalia, not Clinton. And I think he did it as, the ultimate parting gesture. Get out now. He knew there was no way to get out.
But you don't
I don't understand why we went in to give food with the military. I mean, soldiers don't serve us food. The food could have been sent without the use of the army. The army should never have been sent into Somalia.
But we had to get this guy a deed. He was stopping the food from being delivered. For some reason, we can't find him. He's giving interviews every day. He's on TV more than Burt Reynolds. and the Marines can't find him. I mean, that's one thing I don't understand. But you don't think, and we only have a little time here, that the Somalia thing and the Haiti thing are related? Don't you think that it's because of failures in that kind of a place like Somalia that we get gun shy? I mean, we had the boat there ready to go. We were all dressed up. We were going to go to Haiti.
We fail every place overseas. The only times that we don't fail is when they're covert actions. I mean, what Al was saying was right. Those were all covert actions. But as soon as people know what we're doing, of course we fail.
Iraq.
Well, okay.
We killed a lot of
Yeah, but we
people,
failed.
We won
killed a lot of
went
people.
in there and
We won that one.
very few casualties.
No, we didn't win. We killed a lot of people, but we lost.
Well, when we kill a lot of people, that's winning in our book. All right, when we come back, I'll have a modest proposal.